In this video, I'm going to show you how I made this fabulous book fondant cake. This video is going to show you the entire process, not a short clip, not taking out the key details, but the whole process. It's minimally edited to take out the random bits that don't add value to the video, but you're going to see the whole process so that you can decorate a cake like this at home with confidence. So the first thing first, you need square cakes. If you don't know how to make square cakes, don't worry, I've got you covered. I've got a video that shows you all the ins and outs of making a square cake. The next thing that you've got to do is trim your cake, trim the top so that it's level and cut it into half. And now you can see that I'm actually using two different flavors, a chocolate flavor and a vanilla flavor. And I'm trimming the cake so that it's the desired size, because if I stack the two together, it was a little bit too long. So I'm trimming it. And this is what you're going to do. So you trim your cake until it's the right size, and then you can start to decorate. So you need a cake board, a cake drum that is big enough to accommodate the full length of your cake with some room to spare. And then you're going to start with stacking up the cake. Now, because I'm using two halves, I'm going to use the buttercream as a glue. And you'll find out when you are decorating cakes that buttercream is quite a nice glue-like substance that can glue stuff together. So it's gluing the two layers of cakes together. Now, of course, if you have a big cake pan and you have one sheet of cake that is big enough, then you don't have to do this step. You've just got to put buttercream between the layers. Otherwise, if you don't have a big cake tin for the size that you're doing, then you're going to have to do some carving and some addition and subtraction like I'm doing. So remember, buttercream will stick all your stuff together. And I actually found that because my cake was soft, especially the chocolate cake, it was a lot easier to carve out the shape once I stacked it together. In hindsight, I think I should have not used chocolate cake. It's a bit too soft for carving. I would recommend you use something like my Madeira cake, which I have a recipe for. That's a nice sturdy cake that will withstand the curving process. So it did make my structure not as stable as I like, but again, you can see I did a crumb coating to basically try and lock some of that crumb in to give my structure some stability. So if this happens to you, you don't despair. You just take it step by step and do some crumb coating, use the buttercream, sort of seal it all together. If things are going pear-shaped, the freezer or your fridge is your friend. Stick it in the fridge for about 15 minutes so that the buttercream firms up. That gives you more structure, and then you can continue. Now, if you don't have to do much carving, if you have a solid cake structure, you may skip this step. But you can see now that it's looking a lot more stable, but we're not there yet. You need a structure that is properly nice and stable that will create a nice foundation for your cake. And to do that, we are going to cover the cake with ganache. Ganache is a whole series of videos on itself. So if you don't know how to create and make ganache, I've got videos on that. All the little videos I talk about that go into the techniques in more details will be in the description section. Some of them will show up at the top of the screen, so you can click it or check out the description sections to see videos of the different techniques in full details. You see that the ganache is quite runny. I didn't mean for it to be that runny, but it'll still work. It'll just be a bit more messier. And one of the advantages why I'm showing you this video is to show you the reality of cake decorating, because I find that sometimes shorter videos are very nicely curated and they don't really reflect the reality. So videos like this are great because it shows you the whole process, and also you'll see some of the things I did well and didn't do well so that you will know how to do it yourself in your own kitchen, which I hope that you will do. So I'm using an angled palette knife to apply the ganache on the cake, and you want to cover the whole entire surface of the cake. And then once you've done that, you use a smoother to smooth the not buttercream, the ganache onto the cake to have a nice stable structure. Now my structure is a bit wonky. The top is a bit slanted, but again, that was because of the problems I had with the carving. Don't worry, I'll rectify it. Once I've done the first ganache coating, I'm going to put it into the fridge to solidify, and then you'll see what I will do next. Once the first ganache coat has set, I'm going to then use some more ganache to basically try and create a more level top. This ganache is a better consistency. This is the consistency that actually you should be aiming for. More sort of peanut butter consistency is fluid enough to apply to your cake, but not as runny as the initial ganache that I used. And I'm basically just using it to create better foundation and smoothing my ganache onto the cake. So yes, I know it's not perfectly level, not perfectly straight, but these things happen. And if your cake looks like this, don't despair, it will still work. So I've allowed that next layer to set. Make sure that your ganache sets properly. If it's too soft when you add on when you apply the fondant, it will create problems for you. Once it's nice and set, you've got to then roll out your fondant. Again, if you're new to fondant, you don't know how to prep your fondant, roll your fondant, things like that, check out full videos in the description section. One key thing when decorating cakes like this is measure your cakes so that you know how much fondant you need for the different panels. Measure your fondant. Now, this bit is like the reams of the cake. So to create that impression, I'm using a fondant tool to score the fondant just like that. So you can see it kind of looks like the different sheets of a book. I have put it in the freezer to harden a little bit. Yeah, so that was when I was putting in the freezer. This is a tip I learned on Instagram. If you freeze your fondant for like 5 minutes thereabouts, it makes it stiffer and easier to handle. So Trex is my preferred way of sticking the fondant. Some bakers will steam the ganache so that they stick it on, but you need something to be able to stick the fondant onto the cake. When you first add fondant to your cake, use your hands. Your hand is a perfectly good tool to sort of smoothing it onto the fondant so that it's nice and adherent. And then once you've done that, then you can have your fondant smoother to smoothing it onto the cake. Don't rush this process, nice and gentle, smooth it. With regards to the tools that you need, I did a fabulous video on basic tools for fondant decoration, which I would recommend that you check out. So back to the video. So again, just smoothing the fondant onto the side, and you'll do the same process for the three sides. So basically, the bit of the paper, the top and bottom rim and the side rim is all going to be in white to mimic the pattern of the white paper sheet. So again, like I said, you can see that I'm measuring, making sure that I have the right dimension. If it's bigger than the panel that you need, that's fine. You can trim off the excess. But if you've not measured it properly and you don't have enough fondant, then you might find yourself in a bit of a sticky situation. Anyway, before we go on, I just want to remind you, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, first of all, please do, because it helps my channel grow, and also it will help you grow as a cake decorating beginner, because I have fab tutorials That will help you in the process. And if you subscribe and click the notification button, then whenever I post a new video, you'll be the first to know. So the covering of the book is red, so you want to roll out a nice, generous, big piece of fondant. That will be enough to cover the cake. We are going to be using a different technique. So for the sides of the book, we used a method called the paneling method. For this bit, we're going to use the draping method, where we're going to drape a large sheet of fondant onto the cake. And this fondant is very nice, soft and pliable and flexible. And actually, the type of fondant that you use makes a difference. Make sure that you've kneaded it and prepped it properly. Again, measure, measure, measure. I can't emphasize that enough. One of the things that I first got stuck with when I was measuring, when I was working with fondant, is that I didn't measure properly, and then I ended up not having enough fondant to drape, and then having to start over again or waste fondant. You don't want to do that. So make sure that you measure properly. It's better to have more fondant than what you need than less fondant. So we're going to apply the Trex uh, onto the surface of the ganache. So you can see the three sides that I've said, the top, bottom, and the side panel of the cake has been done in the white to mimic the sheets. Um, did I need this much Rex? Probably not. You don't need that much. You just literally need like something that will like allow the fondant to stick onto. And I love this part, draping. In one fell swoop, just pick up your fondant and drape it on. If you've not got it quite right, you can lift it up and then redrape it. Once you're happy that it's in a nice place, then again, you see that I'm using the palm of my hands first. I'm not using any smoothers first. The palm of my hand to smoothing it on, because then that allows the fondant to adhere to the cake nicely, so that when you then use your fondant smoothers, it's already stuck to the cake and it doesn't pull and drag. Now you can start to see it. I wasn't happy with that, so I took it off and I placed it back again. No biggie. If I had if I had started using the smoother, it might have made this bit more tricky. And then just using my hand to smooth it. Now the thing about fondant is that it will show up any lumps and bumps on the surface. So actually, the smoother your ganache, or if you're using buttercream underneath, the better, because then when you drape the fondant on top, you'll not see that imperfection. And then the next bit is literally me just, you know, creating the shape of a book, folding things around. You see, I've not yet picked up a smoother. I'm just using my hand to basically just create an overhang and doing all that work just to get the nice shape before I then even pick up a smoother. So this bit will take a bit of time. Don't worry. Again, don't rush this process. Just take your time smoothing it until you're happy. And then once the things are taking shape, then you can pick up your smoother, and then you can do that final smoothing process onto your cake. So I'm just gonna leave it to show the process. I'm not gonna comment on it, but I just want you to see it so that you're not missing any crucial bit. So enjoy watching, and I will catch you back in a minute or two. No, actually, I'm gonna keep talking. So smoothing it, and then you can start to see that once you are happy with things, then with the excess, what you're then going to do is start to cut out the excess. You can do that in various ways. You can use the two smoothers, pinch it together, a squeeze, and it will just peel off. Otherwise, you can use your uh, knife or craft knife to just trim off the excess, whatever works best for you. And then you're going to do that on all the different sides until your book starts to take shape. Okay, and here we are. Our cake is ready, looking very like a book. And at this point, give yourself a big pat on the back because you have created a masterpiece. And when you show your family and friends, they will be super impressed. So the rest of the bits of the decorating to make the actual full book will be on my next video. So I will catch you next time. See you later.